We are slowly moving along in the offseason. Draft is now over. Next up will be OTAs, and we're just, slowly inching back towards football season. But let's recap this Bucs draft and talk about the players, where they'll fit in on this team, if I think they'll really get playing time right away or if they'll be more rotational or might have to work towards that. Starting off in round one, the Bucs' first pick, they go Kalijah Cansey, defensive lineman out of Pitt. And pretty much something I'm gonna be saying mostly about this entire draft is it's not sexy, but I like it. I was at the Bucs draft party at Raymond James Stadium, and when they made this pick, it was like crickets. No one was really celebrating. They were just like, oh, okay. But if you watched him play, he's undersized. Yes, he's undersized. He's a beast. I promise you that. Kalijah Cansey is a monster. And as much as people talk about his size for some reason, let me remind them, or if you think he's undersized, he has the same exact measurables as who? Warren Sapp coming out of college. Shocking, I know, but yes, Warren Sapp and Kalijah Cansey coming out of college, same measurables. The best defensive lineman, maybe the best defensive player in the NFL still, Aaron Donald, is an undersized defensive tackle that really uses speed and power, the combination of the two, not necessarily overpowering size like a Vince Wilfork or a Calais Campbell to push offensive linemen around. They're very good with leverage and are able to sometimes get to the quarterback, but really make a difference in the run game. And him next to Vita will be, yes. Building off that, it is the third year in a row where the Bucs go D-line as their top pick in the draft. They went Joe Tryon, who's, been decent. Hoping he makes a bigger step this season at that outside linebacker position opposite Shaq Barrett. And yeah, as soon as I just said the name Shaq Barrett, just prayers to his family. I can't even imagine what they're going through right now. I really hope he's able to just find somewhat of the right mental space. Even that's probably nearly impossible, but prayers to his family, his friends, everyone around him, and the man himself. Yes, getting back to it, I do hope Joe Tryon take that next step in his progression this season, and then him, Shaq Barrett coming off an injury, hopefully they can wreak some havoc on these quarterbacks and maybe a number one overall pick at that. He's a player that obviously is going to be able to contribute right away. Use the number 19 pick on him, a position where you lost some defensive linemen in the offseason. Raheem Nunez-Roches went to the Giants, and Akeem Hicks is a free agent, yet to be re-signed. So there are absolutely opportunities, and I believe he will be filling in those opportunities fairly quickly in training camp and showing what he can do. But again, not sexy, but I love the pick. And that motto continues into the second pick in the draft, Cody Mock, guard out of North Dakota State, or some people are already calling him Jensen Jr. The dude is nasty, plays with passion. He's played all over the line throughout his college career. And of course, the long red locks. Him and Jensen next to each other. Jensen at that center and then Mock at that guard spot. That is going to be a sight to see. But he moves really well, like he's a really fluid athlete. I can see him doing really good on screens and pulling for outside runs, and I like the pick. Again, not sexy. I'm gonna keep saying this. I'm gonna keep saying it. Not sexy, but I love it. He was the only offensive lineman taken in this year's draft, so this pretty much confirms Tristan Wirfs' move over to left tackle, and then Luke Gadecki probably will be taking over that right tackle spot. So we're definitely gonna be seeing a new look offensive line this season, and I hope it is for the best. Donovan Smith, I got the alert a few hours ago that he has signed with the Chiefs. I feel like the Chiefs are picking up a lot of our players. No, am I tripping? Anyone who was on that Super Bowl team, they're like, yeah, come on. Yeah, Mahomes to Kelsey, 70-yard touchdown. I'm not gonna do it. I'm past it. Good luck. Good luck, Donovan Smith, for real. He probably just needs, let me sit down. He probably needs a new situation, a new environment, and he's been with us since 2016. Like, I genuinely do hope that he is able to use that new environment to his advantage. Andy Reid, maybe the best in the NFL at putting players in the best position to be successful. So good luck to him. In round 3, the Bucs go Yaya Diaby. What a name, outside linebacker out of Louisville. So we spoke on the outside linebacker position a little bit already with Joe Tryon and Shaq Barrett, and Yaya Diaby adds some more speed, athleticism to that position. He has one of those freak athlete builds where, really tall, insane wingspan. I don't see him making an insane impact on this defense this season, but with that build and with that athleticism, I do see him becoming a rotational player and even more from there in the near future. Someone on NFL.com, when I was, researching him, called him an athletic work in progress. So kind of goes off of what I said, like the dude's a freak, but he just needs to work on a few things, technique, and he could really be a special player if he gets those down. So 3 first picks, all offensive line and defensive line. So you can see where the Bucs are really trying to build upon this team after last year's first round playoff exit and divisional championship, but still with the expectations going into last season, it was subpar. The Bucs had 2 picks in the 5th round, the first one being Servakie Dennis. Again, fantastic name. He is an inside linebacker from Pitt, played with Kalijah Kancey, so already a little bit of chemistry there. He's a Bay Area guy. He says he grew up watching Derrick Brooks when he was younger, and then during his time in college, he watched guys like Devin White and Levante David to craft his game, so I think that's a pretty cool thing about him. I think this is a potential long-term play. As we all know, as Bucs fans, there's a lot of unknown at that inside linebacker position because of who. So I don't know if he, who, is going to hold out and really try and work towards his contract, or if he's going to just go through it normally, and maybe he was just sending a message, but now the Bucs have the message loud and clear going into the season. I'm not sure what's going to happen. But if who decides to go through and play, I think this is more of a long-term play. Because Levante, even though he's still playing at an extremely high level, fantastic player, fantastic person, love the guy. He's 33 now, I believe, and he's on a 1-year contract with the Bucs. So if Levante's an unknown, I don't even know what adjective I want to use for Devin White, because we already know that situation. So that's 2, we'll just call it 2 unknowns at inside linebacker after this season. So Servakie, I would say, is a long-term play. I do think he's going to get time this year on the field and maybe special teams and maybe working in the rotation a little bit here and there. But if Levante and Devin are both playing, both healthy, we already know they lock down that inside linebacker position and they rarely come off the field. So that's why I'm saying it's more of a long-term play. I don't think we'll see him too much this year, but when we do, I hope to see good flashes. But Servakie does have great instincts, 94 tackles last year with Pitt and 7 sacks. That's pretty good from inside linebacker position. I haven't watched really any tape or anything on him, but if he's a guy like Devin White who can really run those A-gap and B-gap blitzes, hey. The other pick they used in the 5th round was for Payne Durham. Again, these names are just fantastic. Payne, tight end out of Purdue. So this was a position of need. We have K-Dot in there. Rookie last year, played very well, came up big in some big spots, and I liked what I saw out of Cade. But we did lose Cam Brate. Even though Cam didn't show up much last season, he was a veteran piece and has been with the Bucs for many years. So tight end was a position of need going into the draft. I wasn't sure where the Bucs were going to decide to take one. Even though I didn't want the Bucs to pick a tight end in the 1st round, I could have saw it happening in the 1st or 2nd round. But yeah, that didn't happen. 5th round, they got a guy who I think is good value in that 5th round. He's not the quickest tight end. I wouldn't say he's the most fluid tight end. He's kind of, bigger, stockier build. He's gonna do more of your finding the soft spot in the zone, using his big frame to, body people out of the way while he's making contested catches, which will be great for the red zone offense, which was struggling to say last year. So I like the pick. have K-Dot in there, have Kokeef there, who did make some catches last year, but is more of that blocking tight end in the run game. So we bring in Payne to kind of the best of both worlds. He's not super fantastic at one or the other, but I think he will absolutely get playing time in this offense, and we could really see where he fits in, if he's going to be more of, that run blocker, or if he'll end up making some big catches for the Bucs this season. Now in the 6th round, the Bucs had 3 picks. They, moved some things around and ended up with 3 6th-round picks. So first one was on Josh Hayes, defensive back out of Kansas State. I don't like being negative when we're talking about, draftees, because I've never watched that much tape on them, obviously, and they're coming into the NFL. You don't know what you're going to get. But out of all of the draft picks, I would say this is the one I was kind of most surprised / kind of iffy about. I'm not just going to sit up here and say every single draft pick was A+, yes, the Bucs are the best. Like, I'm not going to do that. So Josh Hayes, versatile, played corner and safety in college. I don't know where the Bucs are really going to be putting him, because with that versatility, yes, that's a good thing, but he wasn't like a standout player at either one. And that's also why people are saying that he fell in the draft. While yes, versatility is always nice, people are looking for a standout safety or standout corner often, but that's why they're saying he fell. Like I said, haven't done any tape on him, but he does have solid size, 6 foot, 190 pounds, and another guy that's from the area. He's from Lakeland, so I saw the video and the quote from him saying, like, once I saw the 813 number, like, I couldn't believe it on draft night. I always hope the best for these Florida guys, so hope to see him do well. He's just one that I don't really know where he's going to fit in at this point. He could end up being a special teams guy. That could be where he sits as for now, until, we see really what he can do on the field. So that's all I really have on him. And 10 picks later, the Bucs went with Trey Palmer, wide receiver out of Nebraska. Now, this is a pick that I felt was necessary. I don't think they needed to go, first 3 rounds at wide receiver. Of course, like, they had the opportunity to pick a top tier wide receiver in that first round. They decided not to do it. They decided to go defensive line again with their top pick. I think he fills a need with his skill set that we lost in Scotty Miller. So Scotty Miller, last year maybe not so much, just because the offense was just constipated half the time. But in years previous, we saw that vertical speed and that vertical threat, and defenses really had to respect that. I don't know if last year, if it was, to do anything with the play calling, or Brady taking a little bit of a step back, or just the offense in general. I don't know if it had to do with that, but Scotty Miller was not making those downfield plays like he was in years previous, and the Bucs ended up letting him go in free agency, and he's now with the divisional team in the Falcons. So the Bucs go ahead and pick up someone that can replace that speed that Scotty Miller had, and that's where Trey Palmer comes into play. So he ran a 4.33 at the combine, which I believe was the best out of any wide receiver. Only a couple DBs were probably faster than that. So there's your speed, vertical threat, and then he does have slot experience from his time at Nebraska, so that's a good thing as well. Braves just beat the Pirates as well. That's what's going on that TV. But getting into that last pick, round 6, number 196, Jose Ramirez from Eastern Michigan, outside linebacker. So I kind of spoke on the unknown at outside linebacker, and pretty much any linebacker position on this team right now. But outside linebacker was Shaq Barrett coming off an injury, and Joe Tryon he's playing okay, but he's not taking that next step and playing week in and week out with the consistency you want to see him building on top of. So they bring in another outside linebacker, Jose Ramirez, to build up that rotation and really maybe push some competition. I know this is the last pick in the draft. You can't just expect all of these players to become stars or even starters, but I think it's necessary depth added to this pass rush. He brings good speed, and I feel like that's something the defense kind of lacked last year. I know his competition wasn't all that high at Eastern Michigan, but he did lead the FBS in sacks. That, regardless of what you want to say, that is the highest level of football, Division I. I know it's not the SEC, but still impressive regardless. That does it for the 2023 draft for the Bucs. Like I said, the whole motto in this is, it's not sexy, but I love it. A lot of offensive line, defensive line, they got their speed receiver to replace Scotty Miller. They got their tight end to replace Cameron Brate. And they got a versatile DB that could play some special team spots. So there's nothing that I really hate coming out of this draft, but there is some spots that I love. That first round pick, Kalijah Cansey, and that second round pick are two picks that I 100% will say that I love. The rest of them, I like them, and I see a good opportunity there for the Bucs. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Comment down below, taking out Cody Mock and Kalijah Cansey, who do you think will see the most play time for the Bucs this season out of the rest of those picks, 3rd round to 6th round? Please like, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go Bucs.